guys, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my channel where we focus on using ordinary materials to make beautiful things. So this is another episode of that large mixed media piece that I am working on for my own house for my husband at my husband's request. So I'm just showing you the progress we've made so far. Remember, the idea is to kind of represent a house and a tree and some different things. And I'll link the first episode, I guess maybe it's 2 episodes now, below, so that if you're picking up now and you want to see how we got where we are, you can take a look at that. So at this point, I have that very large canvas, which is about 3.5 feet by 4.5 feet. And I have covered it with text and music paper. And I have covered the edge of it. Remember, it was that metal, that kind of brushed metal edge. I've covered that with pieces of atlas with maps. And so today I am ready to start working on the actual content of the picture. And so in order to do that, the first thing I need to do is to delineate a horizon line where the grass meets the sky. And so about 1/3 of the way up, I am going to draw a line, just a really light line in pencil, and I'm going to apply a watercolor wash. I'm going to apply it in kind of a grassy green on the bottom part and a sky blue on the top part. I just want to delineate a little bit of color. I don't want to cover up all of that paper. I want that texture showing through. So it's just going to be a wash with some color to provide some reference points for color for us. Then I'm going to go in and add some more texture to that background. I'm going to use some stencils, which I have pulled out over there, to create, oh, there's one of my putty tats. I'm going to use some stencils to create some visual interest in the sky and the grass, and I have a variety of stencils. Once I do that, I am going to do some stamping to create even more textured background. I'm probably going to use I might use some design stamps, but I'm probably going to use some things like bubble wrap and texture plates and just kind of things laying around that create different kinds of texture, so that will sort of mask the designs of the stencils. It'll leave parts of them, but it will mask out, you know, like, oh, there's a perfect design there. So I'll do bits and pieces of stencils, and then I'll kind of blend things with stamps. So I will show you along the way as we go. So right now, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, again, turn off the camera because it's just so large. I can't work on it and stay on camera too. So I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to draw that horizon line, and I'm going to do that wash. Then I'll come back and show you the wash, and then I will do the stenciling. I'll show you that, and then I'll do the stamping. And so depending on how much time that takes, we may get to the stamping today, or that may be another episode. So I hope you'll stick around and join me. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, you can see I have applied a watercolor wash. I decided when I looked at it, it was just slightly over 1/3 for the grass. Not much, just a smidgen. About, when I did some measurements, 13 inches up would have been 1/3, and I think I put it at 15 because it just didn't quite look like enough. I'd like the house sitting back a little bit and still have a little grass behind it. So I gave it a little extra. Still not to the halfway point though. You can see that it's almost dry. There's a little bit of wet in a few places. So as soon as that finishes drying, I will be applying some of the stencils. So you can see those are the stencils that I have chosen. I don't know if I'll use all of them, but I might use bits and pieces of all of them. Probably not the whole stencil, probably just half of it, you know, 1/4 of it, just a little bit here and there. And I'm going to use a variety of colors. As you can see there, I have about 3 different shades of green and 4 shades of blue that I will be using to add some interest to the background. So I'll start with probably the darker colors and then move forward to the lighter ones. and just add some different interest. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go back with some bubble wrap and stuff and put in maybe some different colors and golds and coppers, or maybe another shade of green or blue. We'll see how it looks once we get some of the stenciling done. So I just wanted to stop here and show you what it looks like and give you an idea of what the next step is going to be. And I will come back when I have finished stenciling. I'm still got a few minutes, got to wait for it to completely dry first. I've done this in watercolor. Everything else on top will be done in acrylics. And then, of course, we're going to build some different things, the house and stuff, out of fabric, things like that we already talked about, to put on top of it. Okay. All right. So that's where we stand. I will be back in a few minutes. All right, I'm back. So you can see that I have used 3 colors of green and some stencils, and also 3 colors of blue and some different stencils. Those are all sort of flower motif, rounded sort of things. And the ones down here are a little more linear. They do have some rounded shapes, but they're more in a line. There's like a grouping of a shape as opposed to a floral motif. And I mixed in a few paw prints just because I have cats, and you know, I have to include them in the home picture. And I'm thinking I might actually add a cat in front of the house. I didn't put it in the drawing because I wasn't really sure what I might make it out of, but I've been contemplating it. So I'm thinking about how I might do that. So the next step is going to be to use some gold paint, I think, and sort of just kind of sponge it around to kind of marry everything so that things sort of go together. It'll mask a little bit. It'll just kind of make a unified backdrop out of it. And then once I do that, I will use some bubble wrap to apply some white paint to the sky to create, you know, some sort of cloud effects, that kind of thing. So that's probably as far as I will get today, and I will come back and show you those when they are done and dry. So I hope you're hanging in there with me. I'll be back in a little while. Okay, I'm back for the final quick little look at it so far. I have stood it up so you can kind of see the whole thing at once. The gold is reflecting a little bit in the light, but I feel like the gold and the white on the sponge, the gold on the sponge and the white on the bubble wrap, really helps to marry it. And it tones it down a little bit so it's not that bright in your face blue or the kind of primary green. I used cerulean blue and sap green to start with, which are pretty bright, but I knew too that I would be putting a lot of stuff on top of them and toning them down. So you can see those flashes of bright behind because I scrubbed off a little bit of the paint. I used my sponge, a little bit damp, and when I was sponging on the gold, I kind of, you know, scrubbed around in places to kind of take some of the other stuff off so you could still see some flashes of the white paper underneath and some flashes of that bright blue, because I want to be able to see all of the layers, and I don't want it to look too perfect. I want it to be interesting. You know, perfection is not interesting. A little grungy, a little worn, that's interesting. And that's what I'm looking for. So I will back up one more time so you can kind of see the whole thing at once. And then next time we will be able to start putting some elements on the canvas. I think we'll probably start with the house. So we'll have to construct that off of the canvas and then apply it to it. All right, so I think that's where we are for the project today. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Remember, in the meantime, use what you have to make your life more beautiful. Thanks for joining me. Bye.